Wednesday, September 18th. Welcome to the Damon Bruce Show, brought to you by Ike's Sandwiches, and welcome to Rams Week. I mean, here we go. It is time to put the sins of last Sunday behind you in the rearview mirror. It's officially time to start looking at a Rams team up next on the schedule. It is a hump day kind of thing to do. Humo Day, as it's known here on the Plus. What does the Plus mean? Well, it's ridiculous. There's no point of even describing it at this point, but it is great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining. Hit like and subscribe. It's great. And if you stick around in today's show, we will have a special guest emerge magically. I don't even want to tell you who it is yet, but it should happen around 11:30 our time, about a half an hour from now as we get going live Monday through Friday at 11. Of course, we already had a wake up with yours truly in Kruger this morning, and obviously talking about how you're going to get over the absence of Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey as you go on down to take on the Los Angeles Rams. Well, here's what I can tell you about the Rams. There is no better team really to be running into for the 49ers this week than a team that they routinely beat when they're at full strength. The Rams are not at full strength right now. They're more banged up than the Niners can even claim to be. Plus, we all know that Candlestick South is waiting for the 49ers to get there. Dave Lombardi was talking about the percentage of ticket sales that are looking like they're going to 49ers fans, and he sees something that says about 60%. Well, that's only because it measures the zip code from which you bought the ticket. So I'm sure there's an awful lot of people from Northern California going down to Southern California to watch this game at SoFi Stadium. What I also know, and you know, is that there are an awful lot of 49er fans living already in Southern California. So just because that ticket was bought in an LA zip code doesn't mean a Rams fan bought that ticket. I'm expecting an 80% 49er crowd at SoFi Stadium, and the Rams to need a silent count. Silent count behind a banged up offensive line and an offense that that only throws the ball, but this week will not be throwing it to either Cooper Nkupp nor Puka Nacua. I mean, if that doesn't sound like the right time to catch the Rams while they've got the second worst rushing attack in all of football, while they're giving up almost 6 yards a clip on the ground over their first 2 weeks, this just feels like the right time to run into, look, we all got respect for Sean McVay, but for whatever reason, Kyle Shanahan has regular season ownage on him that I think is hard to ignore. So if things go according to plan, and if, Jawan Jennings, Ronnie Bell, Jacob Cowing, Trent Taylor, if elevated, if one of these guys gives you something that even resembles another target, and Brandon Ayuk is a game closer to looking like and reminding us who Brandon Ayuk is again, this is a no excuses game for the 49ers. They better be 2-1 after this trip to SoFi Stadium on Sunday. And then after that, we'll get into the challenge that the New England Patriots are going to represent. At the same time, the right time to take on the Patriots while you're down a couple of impactful players like Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey. So look, it's awesome to have you here. Thank you for being here. Hit like and subscribe. Share the videos amongst your friends. Feel free to push this out. Feel free to invite others into the tent, especially if, they're rational, well-thought adults who actually want to talk about football, not scream about either Brock Purdy or Kyle Shanahan, trash emoji, anytime anything goes wrong. That's just, you're not forwarding the conversation, right? You're not forwarding the conversation at all there. So look, we've already got kind of a cold cup of coffee here. I don't know if this is any sip of the day status. Again, when we have a wake up, that ship is usually sailed. It's still good though. It's still good. That would have been a sip of the day had we actually been doing sips of the day right here. We're looking at what we got. A lot of familiar names and faces. And yes, Carl, happy Humo Day to all who observe. It is great to have you. Good morning. Good morning to all. Good to see you. Thank you very much. Everyone's worst nightmare is saying, Damon, I'm here. Yeah, we'll see for how long. We'll see. We'll see. Let's see what you come up with in terms of, actual stuff. What is this here? Damon, hello, friend. I just messaged you on Instagram. Will you please reply today? It's important. I don't check out Instagram very often, but maybe I'll hop on the gram a little bit later on to see what you might have written. We'll see. We'll see. But again, it is really good to have you here. And while I've got you here, let me just thank you once again for taking care of me by liking, subscribing. Thanks, and as always, for members being here. Members of the Initiated, you are so appreciated. And certainly, anyone who's offering super chats, we thank you very much for all that. But really, you can support me by supporting my sponsors, starting with this guy right here, because he's pretty damn special. And he's got a sandwich that's pretty damn special, just waiting for you at one of over 100 locations. And let me tell you, Ike is a great sandwich to get for lunch, great sandwich to get for dinner, and it's a great sandwich to pick up this Saturday and any Saturday between now and October 5th, because you can get $3 off any Ike sandwich by using promo code SAT3 on his brand new redesigned app, or in person when you walk up and order at the counter. Say SAT3 on a Saturday and save $3 off of any Ike's sandwich using promo code SAT3. Unfortunately, not available at Santa Rosa, San Mateo, Redwood City locations. What you gonna do? But you are going to get a delicious sandwich when you hop on into Ike's. I can promise you that. I can promise you a great, perfectly poured Guinness, an awesome bartender, a great conversation to have at a bar, great TVs, everything that you could possibly need in a neighborhood Irish sports bar you will find at the Dubliner West Portal. These are my guys. These are my people. Thank you so much to Kenny, to John for supporting. When you walk in there, say hi to Kenny and John for me and let them know that the Plus sent you in. What's going on, boys? Love the guys at the Dubliner. And let me tell you, one more time, on tomorrow's show, we'll be doing a little unboxing. Oh, there is a new helmet that has been delivered that we will be getting into tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it. My friends at Green Gridiron, who took care of this helmet. Look at this awesome 49ers replica helmet, which you can go ahead and get on greengridiron.com. It is the link you got to check out on the information of this live stream. Open up the description of this live stream, click on Green Gridiron on that link, and look at the helmets. We're talking mini helmets. We're talking replica helmets. We're talking the real McCoy. You could wear this tomorrow in a football game helmets. We're talking about every college helmet that you could think of. Every single standard and alternative helmet that you could think of around the world of football. And if you're looking to customize a helmet, and a customized Damon Bruce Plus channel helmet is going to be unboxed tomorrow. I cannot wait to see what they actually got for me and what they cooked up at Green Gridiron. Thanks to the guys there. I am proud to be a partner with them. And let me tell you, you can go to greengridiron.com in the link in the description of this live stream and start just checking out gift ideas for the holidays. The holidays are going to be here before you know it. September means October's coming. October leaves. You're in Thanksgiving, and it's time to start holiday shopping. No one needs another jersey. Maybe it's time to get a helmet, either for the person in your life, the desk that you sit on or behind. You need a helmet. Greengridiron.com is the place to get it. Use promo code Bruce when you check out for a little bit of money. Again, thanks to Ike's, thanks to the Dubliner, thanks to my boys at Green Gridiron. Great to have them all today. We will have a guest popping on in here in just a little bit to talk about 49ers and Rams. I can promise you that. Sean Turner says, Damon, what, the gulping sound is disgusting. Mute it. Oh, why don't you talk to my producer? Now, Sean, all I can tell you is if you're rattled and shook by the sound of somebody swallowing a sip of coffee, you have been raised in a overly coddled manner, and I need to tell you to put your big boy pants on and just suffer through a coffee sip, precious. How about this? Why don't you, whenever you see me bring the cup to my lips, mute it if it's so hard for you? Because there's a lot of people watching this live stream, but there's only one dandelion, Sean, who's worried about the gulp. Oh, I hope that one hurt. Gulp more. There you go. Christopher, Damon, it's National Cheeseburger Day. It's National Cheeseburger? Well, that's all you need to say. Goodbye, everybody. Show's over. See ya. I'm going to get a National Cheeseburger Day. Is there a more important holiday on the calendar than that? I don't know if there is, man. National Cheeseburger Day sounds like a big one. We could do shows about cheeseburgers. By the way, the cheeseburger that you can get at Ike's Mission Rock location is awesome. It's significant. Go try one. You'll be happy that you did. So, look, when it comes to the LA Rams, it's the right team at the right time. I really believe that. Not only are they down Puka Nacua, who is like on his way to being a Niner killer, so you don't have to deal with that guy. Not only are you dealing with Cooper Kupp, who is a Niner killer, you don't need to deal with him. He's out of this game. But safety John Johnson III is out of this game. Guard Jonah Jackson is out of this game. The Rams are already on their third guard of their season right now. Even their kicker has a mild groin injury. Their offensive line banged up. The 49ers need to take advantage of that. And as everyone discusses who needs to step up in the absence of Debo and Christian McCaffrey, to me, the answer is one you might not even be thinking of. It's time for the 49ers defense to step up. It's time for the 49ers defense to be the man who fills in for the offensive absence that you're worried about not having, either yardage-wise, scoreboard-wise, without McCaffrey and Debo there. If you're worried about scoring points, make sure the other team scores less. And it's up to the defense to do that. And as Larry and I talked about, there are an awful lot of coaching moments for Nick Sorensen and Brandon Staley on the back end of that defense, which got confused. You had an offensive line that looked confused against exotic Brian Flores blitzes, and it is time for everyone to return to the team that we saw the first Monday nighter against the New York Jets. That's who the 49ers need to be this weekend around. It's up to Bosa. It's up to Fred Warner. As I said, the magic number should be 17. I don't want to see anything north of 17 this week or next week. The Niners should not lose a single game in which they hold an opponent to 17 points. And it feels like the right opponents are up. Unbalanced football teams are the next two teams on the schedule. All the Rams do is throw the ball, and all the Patriots do right now is run the ball. So that should play into the game plan of what you need to be looking for. Don't let Stafford have a 500-yard day. How are the Rams supposed to win? Don't let Kyron Williams go bonkers on you. This is a Rams team that is still looking for a defensive identity now that Aaron Donald is no longer out on the field. It's a team that is going to be desperate. Like, what am I most worried about going to SoFi Stadium is the Wolverine that is waiting for you. And I don't mean Jim Harbaugh, former Michigan coach, now with the Chargers. I mean, a cornered animal is a dangerous animal. And any NFL team that is 0-2 looking to avoid 0-3, that feels like a dangerous animal. This is why the Dallas Cowboys got maybe the toughest game of the week coming up. They've got an 0-2 Ravens team this week, right? The Dallas Cowboys just got thumped. And now they've got an as desperate as humanly possible Ravens team up next on their dance card. There's an interesting week of football coming up here in week 3, and the 49ers do not need to be on the wrong side of why was that interesting. It will not be interesting if the 49ers beat the Rams. We expect it. What will be interesting and bad and have everybody looking for fire alarms is if they go down and lose, even without Debo, even without Christian McCaffrey. Albert says, Damon, when's the next Plus Mania? Is it announced yet? I'll tell you right now, next Plus Mania sounds like it is going to go down certainly at the Dubliner once again, and it's going to go down probably during the bye week. I don't even have the bye week circled in my head yet. What is that, week 8, week 9, whatever? But think next Plus Mania, Dubliner West Portal again, bye week. And I don't know if it's going to be on Saturday or Sunday, but we will get closer to that, and we will make any and all announcements at the time. Okay. Everyone's worst nightmare says, Damon, I said it's important. Please just reply. Okay, well, we'll see. I'll be the one to determine whether or not it's important. I got to go to I got a dentist appointment today. Chopper day. Nothing getting pulled, just a cleaning. But I'm gonna sit. I'm gonna have 20 minutes of just scrape. Oh, I hate that. I mean, no one likes that. That's tough. That's tough. What do we got here from Jedi? Jedi says, I'm not mad at your ridiculous political takes. Haven't had any of those in a long time. And again, if you support Donald Trump, you're not allowed to accuse anyone of being ridiculous. But anyways, so me telling you to read the room about people not wanting to eat after a loss was me being a little bitch. We're even unless you hold grudges. I don't even remember what you're talking about. Not wanting to eat after a loss. I go ahead and eat the pain away. I don't know what you're talking about, Jedi. But if you're a grown up, you should be able to eat after your favorite football team loses a football game. That doesn't seem like an unnecessary or unreasonable request. I'm sick to my stomach. Are you a grown-up and your football team just lost? Man, you must have the kind of incredible life where you only need to worry about the 49ers and you have no actual real problems in your life. I'm not saying go out and get some kids to get some perspective, but holy shit, when you have kids, you will get perspective as to what really matters and reasons to be upset about things. E. Scott Burns saying, Damon, man, USC at the Big House versus Michigan on Saturday. Yeah. Welcome to the Big Ten, baby. Let's see what that looks like. I will say that Michigan got thumped at home by Texas. Let's see what USC does. We got a hello from Merced, baby. Hello, Merced. Hello from Merced, California. Baron on flight. Hello, Baron. Baron, no, is it Baron O flight? There we go. Thank you. Damon, you have too many helmets. I'll take the one behind you. That's just one helmet, right? Well, then we get the tiny one, too. Look, you can go ahead to greengridiron.com and get yourself this right now. This is easy. These are inexpensive. These are cool. These are great little helmets. I love it. Absolutely love it. We are hopefully close to having a man who wore a helmet several seasons in the NFL joining us for a little Rams and 49er preview, but we do have a few other things to get to here today. Big Mac, the Plus helmet shall reign supreme, right? What about a penis helmet? Look, if you really want to rock a penis 49er helmet, you can customize your helmet in just about any way if that's the way you want to go. If you want to get all P. Diddy on your helmet, you go ahead and do that if it makes you feel comfortable. But I don't think I really want to be involved at that point. What about a Dippin' Dots helmet? Yeah, Hey, you go Dippin' Dots helmet if you want to. You can do whatever you want. They can do anything there. It's completely customizable, baby. We're shouting out burger joints, Smokehouse, 3115 Telegraph Ave. Really good burger joint. Again, if you got Smokehouse as the name, your burger should be good. Put a little smoke on that. Damon got rattled by a comment. Dude, you got rattled by a sip of coffee. You are creating content for me. That's what that is. I can react to it, Sean. You're the one who got rattled. But I hope we're okay now. Be careful. Here comes another. Are you okay now? We good? I hope we're okay. Erwin saying, hey, Damon, when he's two and a half tumblers in, I can tell you that I partied hard enough in college, my 20s. Oh, let's be honest, into my 30s as well. I partied hard enough to where there's no amount of caffeine that can affect the way this horse runs. No, caffeine is not something that like changes whether I'm up or down. It's just, please, caffeine is a tic-tac. It's no big deal. Okay. A couple of other things to get to before our guest hopefully joins us here in just a little bit. Big news in the sports industry today that I think is a sign of not maybe things to come, but just the minute you have an option that gets you out of the media, you might want to take it these days, because when it comes to sports media, you really couldn't find a bigger name than Adrian Wojnarowski. Adrian Wojnarowski has retired from the media and ESPN and covering the NBA, and he did it suddenly with no inkling that this was going to happen, and he broke his own news, of course. It's one of the bigger Woj bombs of all time. Woj is retiring from covering the NBA. Well, he must have made the kind of money and was smart enough to save it to where now he just walks away, lives a nice little life in a rocking chair and smokes a corncob pipe. Whatever Adrian Wojnarowski's dream, I don't have to work anymore. He's going to retire now and do that, right? Wrong. Adrian Wojnarowski is leaving ESPN to be the general manager of the basketball team at his alma mater, St. Bonaventure. So basically, Adrian Wojnarowski gave up chasing agents to break NBA news to now chase 3- and 4-star teenagers, and maybe once every decade and a half have a chance to land a 5-star at St. Bonaventure. I love it. You know what? As somebody who has been an acute observer of, I guess, media disintegration, let's call it, I don't blame anybody who's in this for wanting to get out of it. Because, I look, when it comes to how big of a media member are you, I'm the eensiest, weensiest, teeny tiniest little media member you could ever find. I was a local sports talk host who isn't even that anymore, relegated to YouTube. I love it. I'm having a great time. We're going to make it work. But I just, the bottom rung of media importance is as far as I was allowed to climb the ladder. Fine. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking it. It just means you're an astute observer. Thank you. Adrian Wojnarowski was at the very top. And I can't even imagine, the amount of blowback for the things that I say to the tiny audience that I'm talking to is enough to, make you go, geez, this is a pain in the ass to deal with. I can't even imagine what it's like to, no matter what you put out on Twitter, put into the media sphere, Adrian Wojnarowski, no matter what he could possibly report, is going to get 7,000 replies that are tantamount to, okay, now do the Knicks. Okay, now tell me about my favorite team. You're wrong. Who are your sources on that one? The biggest source in the industry. Who's your source on that one? You just have morons surrounding you with, it's moronic questions, moronic observations. It's got to be suffocating. So Adrian Wojnarowski gets to finally put his phone down, one of his 4 phones that he's always working at all times, and just unplug. And he can get back to basketball. I think it's great. If you ask me, Damon, what are the few things that if you could step away from the media forever that you would like to do? If you told me that I got to move back to Bloomington, Indiana to be associated with Indiana, my alma mater, in somehow, some way, that sounds great to me. My wife would be like, no, we're not moving to Bloomington. But it sounds great to me. That sounds like a wonderful other thing to do. So Adrian Wojnarowski, hell of a job. Good job. He probably felt shams coming up in that rearview mirror anyway. So he's off to something else. Good for him. In other basketball news, I got this to tell you. There's going to be another WNBA team. There's a team coming to Portland in 2026. Now, what makes this a little interesting isn't just proof positive that women's basketball is growing in a way that no one could have anticipated. And Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and whatever you want to say is responsible for the WNBA growing. It is growing. That's undeniable. Undeniable. For the first time, the WNBA is going to be double dipping into a city. The WNBA was in Portland, left Portland, and is returning to Portland. I only say that out loud because maybe that means, Sacramento might get a WNBA team again. Of course, we know that the Bay Area is getting its own WNBA team. Next season, the Valkyries will begin operation in 2025. The Portland, I think that was the Portland Fire. They played 3 WNBA seasons up there. I don't know if they're going to retain the old name or look for a new one to rebrand or whatever. But we've got the Portland WNBA team starting in 2026, the year after the Valkyries are born. So we know that's what's coming up. Another thing that we also know is coming up is Blake Snell opting out of that contract that Farhan gave him, which is why he should have been traded. Blake Snell, since he came back from the injuries that made the start of his season in the Giants uniform a disaster. He deals with injuries, he returns, and this guy's got an ERA under 2 since that has happened. He has thrown, do you have a 1-hitter, a 2-hitter, whatever. He's had a no-hitter. He has been one of the best pitchers in all of baseball since coming back, and he is 100% going to bring that to the open market once again to see what he can get. In other words, the Giants misplayed that too. How can you be bad at signing free agents and bad at drafting amateurs and bad at not knowing enough about your own roster as you're watching it unfold to know whether or not you're a legitimate contender or should be a seller? How do you not know these things? How are you so blissfully ignorant about who you are in the realm of the sport and the division that you play in? It's like the Giants are deniers of observable reality in the name of holding out hope the way a fan would. You can't have your team rooting for your team to get better and hoping it'll all come together. You need them to be actively improving the team. And I just, if you're still on Team Farhan, God bless. You're more patient than I am. And get ready to keep twiddling thumbs as long as he remains. The Giants, Farhan is just good enough to create the illusion of something might happen. But for 1 year, nothing has happened. There's been no restocking of the cupboard. There's been no difference about free agents. If there is another team competing for a free agent, he's probably not signing with the Giants. If there is only the Giants interested in bidding on a free agent because for whatever the Chapman market didn't develop or the Blake Snell market didn't develop, then you can go ahead and maybe get that free agent. Jorge Soler's market never developed, so they went out and they signed him. Well, they traded him. They were at least willing to give up on that guy. But what a real pain in the rear end. A true pain in the rear end. The Farhan Giants era has been. It's been annoying more than it's been satisfying. I don't think there's any doubting that. JJ Raider. JJ, when we get to another Plus Mania, hopefully you'll be re-upping the JJ Raider ganja jar. That's my guy right there. Damon, just like football, I love a good block. Yeah. Everyone, sometimes we need to block a person to keep the conversation going. Again, everyone's worst nightmare is not earned a block or anything like that here. Warner cannot keep saving the day. You know, you're right about that. You cannot just leave it up to Fred Warner to create multiple turnovers, create multiple forced fumbles every single time he's going out there and playing a game. This defense needs to carry this offense through its struggling early on here. And guess what? All offenses around football are struggling. You know what most offenses don't have right now? The second leading rusher in all of football, which is Jordan Mason to this point, or the most passing yards in all of football from any quarterback is Brock Purdy. Again, tell me how bad Brock Purdy has been when quarterback play around the league has been nosediving in its first 2 weeks, and he leads a league that has had trouble passing the ball in passing. It ain't been perfect, but look around the league. It hasn't been really perfect anywhere. But I do see perfect timing by my guest today, and it's been an awfully long time, a routine guest back in the radio days, now nice enough to join us right here. Our man, Kirk Morrison, Bishop O'Dowd's finest, 8 years in the league, a Raider, a Jag, a Bill, and the proudest Aztec you're ever going to meet in your life. What's going on? How are you, Kirk?
Man, it's life, man. Gotta staying busy. I said let me carve out a little bit of time for my guy Damon. While I'm just kind of running around, man. Got college football, NFL stuff, life stuff, kid stuff, picking things up. It's always a lot, man. But feel good to.
It's great to have you. Thanks for checking on in. We've been trying to put this together, but again, you're a busy man. You had to dip out. You had a buddy in Cabo hanging out with. So you've been a busy guy, and I know you're on the grind right now. Where are your football assignments bringing you this weekend?
This weekend I head to Louisville, Kentucky tomorrow. So I have Georgia Tech at Louisville. Last week I was in Pittsburgh for the Backyard Brawl, West Virginia at Pitt. So I had a great experience with that one. And in week one, I was hanging with Arch Manning and Steve Sarkisian in the Texas. Yeah, so it's been a whirlwind NFL college football, and then NFL. Rams 2 games on the road. Now the home opener this weekend at SoFi, so I can't wait to be there for that matchup between the Rams and the 49ers.
The most dangerous team in the world is a desperate team, and as banged up as the Rams are, and the 49ers are a little bit banged up themselves with injuries to Debo and McCaffrey, but the Rams are coming in 0-2. And 0-2 means you are going to fight like it is a backyard fight in an alley, and that's what I'm most worried about, that the Rams are as desperate as a football team can be.
Yeah, and that's what I love about this matchup. That's why I'm picking the Rams to win this game, because they've been told they're not going to be good without Puka, without obviously Cooper Kupp, their offensive line banged up, missing a couple guys on defense, but they still got the quarterback Matthew Stafford. And if there's a matchup this weekend that I like Matthew Stafford as the better quarterback over Brock Purdy. The 49ers don't look the same without Debo Samuel. We've seen it. It's highlighted on the receiver on Netflix. We know what the team looks like. So to me right now, I feel like this is going to be one of those old school matchups, and it's really about who can run the ball well. 49ers do have that advantage, but I think the Rams have a couple of guys that they can use as well. Blake Corum, Kyron Williams. I think to me this is the most intriguing matchup. The 49ers can be at 1-2. Rams could be at 0-3. Like, it's it's a crazy game that 3 weeks into it, this is probably one of the most important games so
Williams
far.
hasn't had much of a healthy line in front of him. Kyron Williams, obviously, you're already on your third guard of the year. The offensive line is
Right.
sort of a bit of a patchwork right now. But beyond that, is Kyron Williams, to me, to you, the guy that you do think can be like a bell cow back in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, he's a second team All Pro for a reason last year behind Christian McCaffrey. The dude can ball, just got to stay healthy, right? And we know that's the hard part. He's not the most durable guy, but I think that's why they drafted Blake Corum, the running back out of Michigan, in the third round. Very similar body type. They look the same almost. So the Rams feel like they've got a carbon copy of it, of Kyron Williams, and that's why I think they're going to utilize more and more of these backs
Through
this
2
upcoming
weeks,
weekend.
have you seen any signs of aging at all in Stafford? To me, he's like wearing the crown of one-man army in this league right now. The way that Donovan McNabb used to be called the one-man army, it feels like every hope any Rams game could have is just specifically on Stafford and a defense that is looking for its identity in the post-Aaron Donald era.
Yeah, I mean, he's still a warrior. I mean, the dude didn't want to come out the game last week, Damon. I mean, they were getting their butts beat, by the Arizona Cardinals. He didn't want to come out the game. He loves it. He's passionate about it. As long as number 9 is available for the Rams, they always feel like they've got a shot. So there's going to be some different guys, some new guys who are going to have opportunities that they didn't have in weeks prior. But I'll tell you this, they're excited to be at home. They know what this matchup is going to bring. It's Niners, Rams, obviously two teams that have been in the Super Bowl before, over the last couple of years. It's come down to these last two teams over the last couple of years. And to me, I think that's the matchup that we want to see. It's always a measuring stick for both teams, right? For the Rams, it's where are you at? And then for the 49ers, can you still kind of sustain this supremacy that you've had over the last couple of seasons? Both teams, we'll know a lot about both teams.
Passing is down. Touchdowns are down. Offense officially coming out of spring training seems to be behind the pitching, if you know what I mean here. So is there any reason that you can think of that explains that? Are defenses officially getting better? Is the preseason been changed and bastardized so much? It's not the preseason that you used to play yourself into shape through. Why is offense down in a league that is prioritized offense from what gets paid and what gets the rule book bent in its direction? Why is offense down?
2 more weeks, and then I think the offenses will be back. We're still in the preseason part of football. The first 4 weeks are truly an extension of the preseason because a lot of guys haven't played. A lot of guys have wore ball caps during the preseason, right? And so these are like 2 weeks in where you're seeing a lot of penalties, a lot of poor tackling, and then just guys getting acclimated to playing real football again. Whenever I played, or when I played, we used to do a 4-game breakdown. That was 4 games, the last 4 games that a team played, because you truly knew who they were as a team. You knew what they did on third down, their personnel groupings, what they did in every situation. We're not there yet. We're only 2 games in. I'll know a lot more about the entire NFL after 4 weeks. I'm never surprised by what happens in the first 4 weeks. Never surprised. I get more surprised as the season goes along when you have the information that's available to you. So to answer your question, I think defenses are ahead of offenses right now currently. But after 4 weeks, these offenses will now, guess what? They've got their cheat sheet in front of them. They'll know what these defenses want to do, and that's where the strategy, the game planning, and the scheming will come in. The offensive numbers, I think, will definitely skyrocket. But the easiest thing to do right now is do what? Just run the football. Have your offensive line get good push on their defensive front. That's easier than having Nick Bosa and those guys come at you and hit your quarterback every single play. These coaches aren't stupid. Coaches are like, you know what? Until we get this offensive line stuff fixed, or until we get these looks and know what the defense is truly going to do, let's just run it right at them. And it's been successful.
I'll tell you what, he's no Christian McCaffrey. There isn't a running back in this league that's Christian McCaffrey, but Jordan Mason's got some squabbles in him, man. He runs hard. He's a pile mover.
Yeah. He's hungry, right? He's hungry. Damon, he's not out there just, playing around. He's trying to prove it. But we've seen this before. I mean, I've seen it from Matt Breida, seen it from Raheem Mostert. We've seen it from Tevin Coleman. I mean, we've seen it from Elijah Mitchell. We're not surprised when we talk about Shanahan in a run game. I think what we're more surprised that Christian McCaffrey is a little bit banged up, but this is what it's always been like with the Shanahans, right? They find running backs who, in their system, it's one cut or your cut. That was always the philosophy that we were told, that these running backs are trying to get downhill. They run it to perfection. They have a great eye for talent. So I am not surprised at all that the next coming is Jordan Mason. I'm always more surprised the guys who don't make it. Remember Trey Sermon? Like, dude, how you can't run in this offense, brother? Like, everybody named mama can run in the Shanahan offense but you. But that's more the surprise that I've seen. But I'm not surprised when it comes to Jordan Mason and a lot of those guys that come in.
Again, nothing proves that you can play in this league until you're in this league. And right now, I want to talk to you about a guy whose position you shared, and that guy's Fred Warner. This guy is a turnover machine. He attacks not only the ball carrier, but the football itself. You, as a player, created an awful lot of turnovers at the position of linebacker. You were great at creating and forcing fumbles. There is an art to it. Can you tell us how you get coached to force a fumble?
Yeah. I can't even describe him. You know what I'm saying? Like, the dude is a baller. He plays great football. When I watch him, it's like poetry. And I remember I used to say that when I watched Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman play. But watching Fred Warner on film is just like, he plays 2 steps ahead of the offense he's going up against. Like, he makes the right play. He punches the football out. He makes the right tackle. He intercepts the ball. But the one thing about him is he plays with a calm aggression. Like, you never see him overly hyped up, overly amped up. He plays in a demeanor in which he's able to be successful, and he kind of sicks you like a cobra, right? He's like a snake out there. He kind of glides and moves, but when he gets there, he packs a punch, and it's just been unreal to watch, man. Every single week, you just put a circle around 54, and it is
man, I put a circle around your name when I saw Rams and 49ers on the schedule. I think we need to let everyone know, you and I have talked an awful lot of football on the air together over the years, but that's not why we're friends. We're friends because we both love basketball, and Steph Curry and the Warriors. How much fun was watching everyone who usually doesn't like Steph Curry get to root for him in the Olympics? Wasn't that awesome?
Yeah, that was amazing. And it just gave everybody a love of the game. It gave everybody a love of why we've watched Steph. You know, I've always told people, when Steph was drafted, not a lot of Warrior fans were happy. I mean, we had Monte Ellis. We had other guys on the roster. It was like, here's the kid from Davidson. Can his game translate to the NBA? And the most beautiful thing is watching him progress, watching him work on his craft, watching his ankles become stronger and stronger. Because remember, we said he had glass ankles. The guy's ankle, he would just be walking down Lombard Street and his ankles would just collapse, right? That's no longer the case, man. It's a great sight to see. He's brought so many great memories for me and my family watching the Warriors and the championship runs that we had, and to see Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Steph Curry on the same court at the same time, that was definitely one thing that I'm excited about.
Great to have you. Thank you so much for your precious time, man. What are we pushing? What's this car looks nice, man. This car looks nice. What are we pushing?
Hey, man, no, I'm just hanging out. I'm in the Model X.
Okay, all right. There he is. I'm not giving license plate and location. No. Thank you, Kirk. Thank you so much. There's the man right there. Kirk Morrison joining us. You catch him in Los Angeles, the host of LA Gridiron Weekly on ESPN LA. You can catch him as your pre and post game host for the Rams, certainly in their preseason. And that's just a good guy right there. And I'm really happy we were able to catch up with Kirk Morrison, who I've loved talking with for years. So I told you, if you stuck around for the guest, that it would be worth your time. I hope you agree that that was worth your time. That's the man right there. Let's see. Albert saying, I don't know why people got beef with Damon. Do they not know how many other options there are on the internet? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What am I going to do? Let's see what else we got here. What else we got going on? Squirrel. We get distracted. We got this. Oh, look at it that way. Somebody, Kirk Morrison, you called it out, Otis. You called it out. I think you were able to go ahead and think to yourself, who has Damon been talking to throughout the years? Went around the Rams. We always usually talk to Kirk, and it was great having him, man. Really, really good having him. In the Tesla. I don't think we've done a Tesla interview before. That was an awful lot of fun. Great interview. Thank you very, very much. That was always good to see our guy. Always good to see our guy. That was great. Always nice to hear from Kirk. He's good people, man. Real good people. I don't think I ever told you. When he was playing for the Raiders, there was one day I was sitting at the at 24 Willie Mays Plaza, and somebody asked me about the Raiders. I started talking shit about the Raiders and Al Davis, and Kirk Morrison was sitting right in front of me, and he turns around. He's like, so I listen to you on the radio. I know who you are, and you should probably know who I am. I'm Kirk Morrison. I'm like, oh, hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. Sorry I'm crapping all over your team, but I think you're 4-12 right now. So it's, I'm not really wrong, right? And we had a laugh and we became friends and we traded numbers right there. And it's been cool ever since, man. He's a good guy. And thank you very much for watching, for tuning in. Are you ready to go? Are you ready to go in terms of your history lesson today? We have nothing incredibly disturbing to tell you about. No one is stalking anyone today. We're not going to talk about how Puff Daddy used to brag about how he could get any woman he wanted, but apparently he was paying the entire time. We're not going to talk about that again today. We went down that road yesterday. Here's what we're going to talk about: what happened today in history, and that's where we're wrapping up this program. Today, in 1905, Greta Garbo was born. You want to talk about historic beauties, historically significant women of fame? Greta Garbo, she's in. Before your time, way before my time. If you still have access to your grandfather or grandmother, ask about Greta Garbo, one of the OG hot chicks. I can't even imagine how many Instagram followers Greta Garbo might have had. Oh, that's right. She was very private. She wouldn't have even been on Instagram. See, now you know. By the way, just from a name standpoint, that chick is hot. What's your name? My name is Debbie Wasserman. Doesn't sound like a hot chick. Sorry. She might be. But just on the surface, Debbie Wasserman doesn't sound like she's going to be an absolute smoke show when she walks through the door. If I told you Greta Garbo's about to show up, there's a beautiful woman about to walk in. Just that name, Greta Garbo. You can't be ugly with a name like Greta Garbo. Today in 1961, James Gandolfini was born. He's gone now. He's gone. He died at the age of 51, obviously. He had a heart attack in Rome. His turn at Tony Soprano is one of the more significant pop culture moments of our lifetime. Undeniably, Tony Soprano is as evolutionary a television character as Archie Bunker was, as Johnny Carson was. He pushed what television could be forward as an anti-hero. There is an incredible documentary right now about David Chase. It's a two-parter that's out on HBO. If you're a fan of The Sopranos, you have to watch it. But today, James Gandolfini was born in 1961. And let me just say, as great as he was as Tony Soprano, that might not have even been his best gangster role. James Gandolfini plays the gangster who shows up to rough up, was that Rosanna Arquette in True Romance? And he's only in the movie for like 5 minutes. And James Gandolfini almost steals the movie. He is so equal parts charming and terrifying as this gangster who is trying to recover a bag of money from a woman that he is roughing up in the hotel room. It is an intense scene, and James Gandolfini is incredible in that scene. He's only in the movie for like 5 minutes. He nearly steals the entire movie. True romance. There's a Christopher Walken and Dennis Hopper have a scene together that officially steals the entire movie. But James Gandolfini's close. Close second. Iceman. Was Ratto a Sopranos fan? I don't think Ray ever truly liked anything. So I don't know. I don't know. Let's see what else we got in terms of celebrating birthdays today. It's not a birthday. It was a death day. 1970, today in London, ODing on barbiturates, we lost Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix passed away today at the age of 27. I only bring that up to let you know that the amount of great musicians that passed away when they were 27, it's pretty stunning. It's like, go Google dead wrestlers and you'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe there are this many dead wrestlers. The amount of musicians who died at the age of 27, it's Joplin, Brian Jones, Jim Morrison, Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse. Like an awful lot of musicians had their demons catch up with them by the age of 27. Speaking of your demons catching up with you, you really couldn't catch up with him when he was on a 10-speed. Today in 1971, Lance Armstrong was born. His demons got him, though. He is, steroids aside, one of the greatest athletes of our lifetime. I'm going to tell you right now that every single person who has ever ridden in the Tour de France was on something. That's how they're in the Tour de France. Who had the best shit and who was the best at it? Well, they're the guys on the medal platform. Lance Armstrong turned out to be a villain when it comes to lying and covering up and trying to shatter other careers to protect your own reputations. But he was a great athlete who took one of the single greatest falls from grace we've ever seen an athlete take. He let down millions of people with the whole Live Strong thing. And he's pretty much shunned to this day in the world of sports. You know, if they do a Dodgeball 2, I don't think they're going to ask him to be doing another cameo in Dodgeball 2. But Lance Armstrong, born today in 1971. And there you go. Do you need to know that today in 1819, a French physicist named Jean-Bernard Léon Foucault developed a technique of measuring the rotation of the Earth, and with accuracy was among the first to predict the speed and the degree and the axis on which the Earth rotated? Because that also happened today in 1891. But to me, Jimi Hendrix dying is more important than that. I mean, look at it this way. No one will deny Jimi Hendrix is one of the greatest guitar players ever. We still have people denying that the Earth is even round. So, you know, take that, Jean-Bernard Léon Foucault. And I thank you for being a part of today's show. Like and subscribe if you would, please. Thanks so much to Kirk Morrison for coming on by. You're interested in helmets? Check out the description of this video and check out greengridiron.com. If you're interested in a great sandwich, check out my man Ike. If you are interested in a great Guinness, a great bar, make sure you get to the Dubliner in West Portal. And if you're interested in another great show, I hope you plan on coming back tomorrow live at 11. And then on Friday, I'll be live at 9 again with Kruger for Wake Up, plus your 11 o'clock show as well. We're getting closer and closer to week 3, boys and girls. Pay attention to the Rams from here on out. In the meantime, thank you very much for tuning in. Thanks to all of you for your comments, for everything. Everyone's worst nightmare. I will check out your Instagram message in just a little bit. and pray for me as I get my teeth cleaned. I hate the scrapey. Sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, he's gone.